All right, everybody, we've got some mail here. Time to catch up on a mail day. This mail's been piling up for a couple months, and it's time. It's time to crack on in, talk about what we're buying, what we bought it for, and the reason we bought it. I don't know. That sounds right. The video starts right now. Highest level of gratitude to our patrons who power the channel through Patreon. Check out the Patreon link in the description to learn about monthly giveaways, VIP Discord access, and even our official playmat. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm Jake, and welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. Today, we've got a mail day. We're going to crack into all of this. These are some cards that have been piling up over the last couple months. I've been meaning to open these, get them into binders, and now it's time. If you like these mail day moments where we crack on in, talk about what we're buying, talk about a little bit of MTG Finance. Again, this is speculation. Some of these cards I'm buying for the collection. Some of them I'm buying with the intention of they possibly go up in price, and then I'm able to trade them for bigger and better cards and grow the collection on a budget. Anyway, I think it's time to crack into this. There's no real reason to wait. For the one person who always gets upset at every single mail day, they're like, he knows what these cards are. Yes, I do. I ordered them online. We're going to go ahead and just get on into this. Let's set these to the side. I have a little notepad here of what we bought and what we bought it for. And so if you want to check some of these prices, you can yourself. Let's just go ahead and open these. All right, so Prismari Command foil. This is a card that I think is just really undervalued. I was picking up these foils at like $6. The card reminds me a lot of Kolaghan's Command. I'll go ahead and bring that card up. It's a little bit different, but the treasure token is really notable on Prismari Command. The 2 damage to any target, pretty similar to Kolaghan's Command. Draw 2, discard 2. That's a pretty sweet little looting ability on there as well. And then clearly you can, if you want to, destroy target artifact, which is very similar to Kolaghan's Command. You're going to see a couple more of these, but I did want to highlight that card. I just think it's very strong. And we also are going to have another Prismari Command here. This one is the promo. Also paid $6 for this. These are more of for the collection. I didn't buy a lot of Strixhaven, and I really do like Prismari Command. I'm not speccing these as much as getting in before inevitably people realize just how powerful a card this is in the long term. That 3 CMC is going to be really attractive for formats like Modern. I've already seen this card popping up in a couple Modern lists. It's a great sideboard card, but I also think it's really good in the main board as like a 2 of or a 3 of. Let me know in the comments what you think of Prismari Command. I think the card is fantastic. Oh, and just like that, we do have another one. I guess I have all of these in a row here. This one is the extended, a little bit of a difference on price on this one. Extended Prismari Command, I would have paid six as well. So $6.50 for this. So really good price on that. Again, I do like the extended cards. I know that some people aren't super interested in those. We'll set that to the side there too. We have a good bit of stuff here. Some of it is going to be a spec. Some of it, like I said, is to grow the collection. Okay, now this card right here, this is a spec. I went ahead and bought one of these for an EDH deck, and then I'm picking up extra copies of these. And the reason that I am, we'll go ahead and talk about this. The Deck of Many Things came out of Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. I love what this card does for EDH from a fun perspective. There are a lot of good modes on here. The biggest negative mode is kind of funny. The roll a d20, subtract the number of cards from your hand. If the result is 0 or less, discard your hand. And then obviously if you roll 1 through 9, return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. 10 through 19 is draw 2 cards. And then finally, if you do roll a 20, put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. So pretty nuts card. A lot of different abilities on here. The draw and the velocity. This is the only time I'm going to talk about Deck of Many Things. This isn't the last one you're going to see in the video, but I am explaining my thought process behind this. A more casual EDH card. I don't think this is going to be a super competitive card, but for players that do value fun, again, I do think that this card is going to be very attractive in the long term. Just people who like different modes. The draw is velocity. Return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. That's redundancy. I would even argue that's velocity as well. We're getting extra value out of our spells that are in the graveyard. And then obviously put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. This is a crit. That's why it's a 20. You're only getting that on one roll. And when that creature dies, its owner loses the game. So just from like an EDH perspective and something that's like interesting and like, oh my gosh, that's what that card does. This card does so much. And I think that players in the long term are really going to like it. Oh, Feed the Swarms. This is just for, I think I paid $2 a foil for these, but these were for a deck. 4 foil Feed the Swarm from Zendikar Rising. The reason I did buy this card is just because, for anybody who might be watching, they're like, why do you buy foils of that? Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's converted mana cost. So it's mana value. But it's essentially enchantment destruction in black, which is why I'm running this. This card is very specific, and it's very hard to find this effect in black. Oh, Razorverge Thicket. Picked this up for modern boggles and just like green-white modern decks in general. I like Razorverge Thicket a lot. I paid $9 for this expedition foil. $9 shipped. These expeditions from Zendikar Rising, I think they're really undervalued right now. You could get a lot of expeditions in the collector boxes. There were seeded non-foil expeditions in regular Zendikar Rising boxes. But I picked these up because they're very attractive for modern formats. There has been a big uptick on these since modern has come back. So I don't expect to continue finding expedition foils for under $10. I imagine these are going to start getting scooped up. But I did want to highlight this. This is going to be the only expedition you see in the video, but pretty good deal there. You could price check these, pause the video as much as you want, go take a look at what I'm doing, and you could be like, well, what do you pay for that? What's it worth now? Blah, blah, blah. What do we got in here? Oh, here we go. Foil deck of many things, $6 on this one. That original deck right here, I paid $2 for. I don't think I brought that up. I don't need to go into all of the different reasons why I like deck of many things. We just covered that previously, but you will see more copies of that. Oh, so this is a fun one. Isochron popped up randomly on like an auction ending in the middle of the day. And this is an Isochron Scepter that is brand spanking new. FTV. Looks really, really nice. The reason that I picked this up is just I don't have a cool copy of Isochron Scepter. This was ending in the middle of the day. And so I just decided, you know what? We're going to snipe that one. And I put in a little random bid and got this for $13 right at the end. Pretty sweet card as well. Big EDH staple. Love Isochron Scepter. So many players love this card as well. That's just an addition to the collection there. Let's drink some water. All right, foil Brainstones. These ones I'm pretty sure I overpaid for. I paid $2 a card for these. There's 8 of them in here. 2 playsets of foil retro Brainstones. What I like about this card is it's an artifact that slots into any deck, and it does what Brainstorm does. And that's pretty much it. This is a nice long hold. Clearly I don't need 8 of these, but I do think Brainstorm or Brainstone Retrofoil could in the future do things. Again, pretty much even on this card, may even have gone down a little bit. I do love that Drew Tucker art. Still got some fun cards to go through here. Some extras. You can see the mail's pretty ripped open. Ornithopter of Paradise. It's the same kind of like speculative thing here. The Ornithopter, I just figured, well, this could be a nice EDH card in the future. I think people will like it. I think it's, I don't know so much if it's going to have constructed play outside of EDH, but I did want to have one retrofoil of it. Paid, I think, $2 for this shipped. Again, that might be a little bit of an overpay there. Ah, yes. All right, so Resurgent Belief. The foil extended Resurgent Beliefs I've paid, I believe, $1.50 a card for. I know that Suspend is one of those things where it's either good or it's not good. A lot of people like to pass on it, but I do think that EDH is going to like this card in the long term. All of these that I've purchased have been the Retrofoils, all for around that price. Well, that's just some fodder that was shipped with the card to give it a little bit of extra reinforcement. But all of these Resurgent Beliefs that I've picked up have been Retrofoil. And the reason I like it is just return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is a card that I think has obvious EDH playability, but I also think it's one of those cards that could seriously do things in Constructed if we ever figure out a way to cheat Suspend. I know that in the Expertise cards we're able to do it, but those are a little bit lackluster to players, but I do think that this card does have some legs as we see more and more enchantments. Enchantress is a big thing in Modern. Hard to tell if this card could be valuable in there. I don't really think that it is. I think that in Modern it's just a little bit too slow, and Enchantress just has so much velocity as it is. It doesn't really need to get enchantments back from the graveyard, but I do think again that EDH will like the card, and it does have potential in the long term in some sort of constructed deck. The more cards we get, you'll see these cards like pop up out of nowhere. Retrofoil Plague Engineer. This was just a pickup for the collection. Didn't have a copy of this card, and it was at an all-time low, so I grabbed it at like $5 or nope, $6. $6 here for the Retrofoil. Love Plague Engineer. This was one of the big Modern Horizons 1 cards that really made waves when that set first came out. It's just a hose versus certain tribal decks. So some EDH decks like to main deck this. I mean, obviously you main deck in EDH, but pretty fun card. And a few more here. What do we got? Oh, yes. So had to pick these up. There's 6 copies of these. Paid $1 a copy. This is just a card with so much potential, and I love cards like Witch's Oven and the Underworld Cookbook, and this is the card from that deck. This is the bread and butter of Hell's Kitchen and those kind of variants right now. This card is huge. You could just discard it and pay a hybrid red or black to get it on the battlefield, and once it is, you could start sacrificing 2 foods. Target creature deals 6 damage to itself. It has a very nice, huge removal outlet built into it, and once this deck gets going, this card is just bonkers. Yeah, anyway, I'm a big fan of this card. Can't wait to see what it does in the future. It's been very popular since its release into the game. Tons of players brewing with that card. I call it Asmaran because I don't like saying all of it. Here's more Resurgent Beliefs. Again, we've talked about why we like these. There's 8 copies of this here. Just a few more here, so stick with me. We're gonna get through these. Oh, okay, Sword of Hearth and Home. This has actually been waiting a little while. I paid $13 for this, so I need to do a price check on this, but this is the etched Hearth and Home, and I bought this like early on. This was somebody who just kind of listed this at what was like the lowest price at the time. Again, around 13 to 15 if I had to guess for this card. Very strong card. This is the big sword from Modern Horizons 2. Can't really see it super well with that etching, especially on video here, but yeah, that was a pretty cheap sword that popped up, so had to jump on that. Retrofoil Ranger, I paid $12 for. Just another one of the cards that was really good out of Modern Horizons 1. It got that retro treatment in MH2. And I do like this card for EDH. I like it for Constructed as well. When it ETBs, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value 1 or less, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle, and you can sacrifice Ranger Captain, and your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. So a nice little toolbox of effects in here. Lets you go tutor something very specific, but very strong card, and I wanted to have it in this treatment. And then, finally, what do we got in here? One more card. What's it going to be? Oh, it is going to be a deck of many things. Oh, and then we also have... I have this one sitting to the side as well. This is a foil extended deck of many things, and then just an extended deck here. The foil extended I paid $8 for just because I really did want that treatment. And then finally, the regular extended deck was $3.50. Lots of fun cards here today. And again, When I am speccing cards, especially for EDH, I do like to spec fun. I think fun in the long term is the kind of thing that's going to be really attractive to players. That said, I do look for good cards too. I hope you've benefited from this video. I hope this is something that's been interesting to you. I've been meaning to do a what I'm buying for a minute. It has taken me so long, but now we're caught up. I have new cards that I'm going to be targeting as we head on into Innistrad, but we'll talk more about those at a later date. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm Jake with Jake and Magic, and until next time, I am tapped out. Goodbye.